Alright, back with another banger video today. Episode 2 in me trying to pass a performance account. I didn't really go over this that well in last video. I wrote it in the description, but didn't go over it that well. The whole premise of this, really, is that I'm giving myself the next 2.5 months to be able to become profitable after all of the learning that I've done. And if that doesn't happen, then I give up trading forever. Because I've spent a lot of time on this, a lot of effort, really. It's either going to work or it doesn't work. And it's either going to work with me or it's going to work with someone else. So, if I want it to work with me, I got to work damn hard in the next 2.5 months to make sure that I got the shit under my fucking belt. So, no more taking cop outs, no more pretending I'm learning shit when I'm not. Being honest with myself, essentially, is what this video series is about. Without further ado, let's just get into it. What I did after last episode yesterday was I went and got a bunch of different software. I went, actually stayed up late as hell downloading shit, but what did I get exactly? I was trying to find how much everything cost. First of all, I had to have data, like live data. Otherwise, there's 10-minute delayed and shit. So, first of all, I got a Rhythmic 50K funded eval account so that I could get data flow, so that I could start looking at charts in real time. I'm not trading just yet on them. I just want to know what exactly is happening, when it's happening, so that I can learn how to make trades before I actually start taking them and potentially blow this account. Not going to happen. All right. After I did that, I also then wanted to get the right software for what I was going to do. And so there are mainly two softwares that I use. Well, three, I guess, if you count TradingView. But I use NinjaTrader, and I also use Bookmap. And Bookmap is it's like a heat map, level 2 data software that visualizes volume data. And NinjaTrader is just how I've set up Bookmaps, that I can place orders on a chart instead of placing orders on Bookmap. So I placed it on the NinjaTrader charts, but Bookmap is still associated with that. It's this whole thing. Rhythmic is terrible at letting you log into multiple interfaces at once, so you have to just use Bookmap as a plugin on NinjaTrader. Plenty of videos if you want to learn how to do that. But I did that, and then I also bought level 2 market data for the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is what ES and NQ are both on, which are the two instruments that I trade. Normally, I just trade ES, and I use NQ occasionally for finding imbalances and mismatches, because the two assets do tend to track each other pretty well. All right, let's get into the big meat and potatoes of what is going on here. I gotta stop swaying in this chair. It's actually driving me insane. I noticed in the last video as well. I just kept on going like this. Not gonna happen again. All right. So, the Rhythmic account, the CME data, and then Bookmap subscription, because I had to pay for Bookmap Global in order to use it. That ran me about $100, a bit under $100 American, 130 Canadian. I'm from the six. Terrible exchange rate right now. I think it's like a dollar American to like $1.40 Canadian. God, but better for me, because if this works, when this works, make money in American. All right. So, without further ado, let's just get exactly into what I am doing. So, as I was saying earlier, my software consists of using two things. The first one I'll pull up right here on screen. I'll just go in a little mini mode. Is Bookmap. All right. So, this is the Bookmap. It's pretty calm. How it works, if you've never seen this before, is it has basically the bid and the ask as these green and red lines. And the time is on the bottom as per usual. This is just how price moves, right? And what we have going on here is these big bubbles. A green bubble represents buyers, and a red bubble represents sellers. Now, these bigger the bubble, obviously, the higher the volume order. As you can see, this one's 174, this one's smaller at 112. There, bit of basics on heat map. Then I also have here, this is Ninja Trader. Here I can easily place trades. And then I also use TradingView just because I'm very used to using TradingView. I've been using TradingView for a while. Makes sense. I like how I've set up my layout on this. I've done the hourly. But let's get into how exactly I do this. All right. So my trading process is an order flow process where I follow a bunch of steps. First of all, evaluating the market mode. That could be either a trending or a ranging mode. And then I continue to try and find areas of value and areas of mismatched price where I think that I can get in at a premium versus what I think the actual underlying stock, sorry, not underlying stock, what I think the price of asset will go to. But it isn't all predictive. Most of it is actually just me looking at the charts, looking at volume distributions, these bubbles on Bookmap, to see what exactly price is doing. And so I'll get right into that right now because the best way to kind of just explain what I do is to show it, I suppose. So I'm going to go to the one trade that I took today. I have it on here as well. I didn't actually take it. I just marked it out at the exact time. And I'll explain pretty much what I was doing over here. This right here is a volume profile, although it is a TradingView volume profile, so it's not based on level 2 data like you would find on a different charting software. These volume bars are different than these volume bars right here. Or, no, sorry. These volume bars here. I have this split up into buyers and sellers, but these numbers, these are all, volume. You can look up what's on a Bookmap exactly and what each of these are. These are just volume profiles if you want to know more about that, or maybe I might also just make a video on it so that I understand it even more. I find when you explain things, you also get to understand it a bit more. So, essentially what I do, first of all, I look at price as it comes up. I low-key wasn't awake at 9:30 today. What was I doing? Who knows? I was up late last night doing all this bullshit, trying to download everything. But we still do it. We still get into it. What I did was I pretty much just watched the market rise. I wasn't finding a good entry ever because I don't know, just didn't see anything that seemed super convincing. And I had my eye on a few things. First of all, this was all an area of very low volume. I can't pull up the volume chart for this right now, but you can also tell just by looking at this. If you, I don't know, study ICT, maybe you would call that an imbalance or a fair value gap maybe. But look, this is on the 5 minute, and look how thin this is already. So as you can tell, there's not a lot of volume in this, so I pretty much expected this to get filled. Now, what I was looking at was this high right here. This is all-time highs right here for ES. And I was expecting this to be a pretty big draw on liquidity on price movement if this got filled. If this got filled, then I was expecting price to come up here. I couldn't find an entrance before that. Just volume didn't line up. It never seemed like there was a good moment to enter. I usually, in a trend, I tend not to enter when I'm already up here. I tend to wait for like retracements, and I never really saw anything I wanted. When price came down here, I was like, you know what, like price could easily fill this low volume node right here. And I wasn't fully convinced that it was a bullish day yet. So I waited a bit, as I tend to. And sorry. I waited for price to come up here to this all-time high. And as you can see, we have a beautiful little reaction off of this. Beautiful reaction. This wasn't the only trade I took, actually. I took a few longs at this point because I still felt very good about the day being bullish, but I knew that there would be a small retracement off of this level because there was a nice auction out and price was coming back down. It had just hit a major level. It's kind of typical that you see some sort of reaction off of that. So I was expecting price to come down. I just didn't know when it would end. So I tried going long at a few spots. I tried going long right here as well when I saw this wick down, and I didn't see the break of structure. And when that wick, I tried entering here, got up like a little bit. I was at like 1.2 RR on my risk, and then price came down, took that out. But then, what happened? And this is what's important. I was over watching on Bookmap. Let me find what time this was at. This was right around here. So I was seeing these sell bubbles, red, red, red. And the important thing when you're looking at sell bubbles or buy bubbles is not so much that they're happening. You need to look at how the market reacts to all of these high volume orders coming in. For instance, if there's a lot of sell bubbles and the market isn't really reacting, that means that the sells are being absorbed and that buyers actually still have a lot of pressure. If there's a lot of sell volume and prices going down, that means that sellers are in control. That means that maybe you want to take some shorts. But these things can easily switch. So as you see up here, we hit this level, right? And then I'm seeing a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers. Everything's mixed. And then I see these big sells, and this starts to come down. I'm like, all right, we're in a little retracement. Tried to go long around here. Didn't work. Probably shouldn't have done that. I wasn't seeing enough hesitation on this part, on the seller's part. Sellers still had a lot of power. They were coming down here, coming down here. Now, the reason that I decided to get in down here was for a very important reason. In volume, first of all, if you look on this chart, this even shows it pretty well. I'm choosing to show it here because I've limited this to just this stretch so that it hasn't been impacted by this over here. But you can still tell just by looking here at this volume profile that down here we're hitting something called a low volume node. See the bulk of the volume's up here and down here. No volume here. And low volume nodes tend to behave in one of two ways when price comes up to them. They can either be pushed through really quickly if the market is going that way. So if this was in a bearish market, then this would have been pushed through extremely quickly down to here. This all would have been one candle probably. However, it wasn't. And what instead happened was I saw a huge reaction here. And then price came down again and was again holding. So the other thing that can happen at a low volume node is that price can use it as a level that it reacts off of. So that's what was happening in this case. Right here. Oh, sorry. I'm used to doing this on a Mac. I kind of forget the commands for certain things. Right here, right? Low volume node comes in. Price hits that. Has a failed reaction once, comes back down, and then I enter right there because low volume node, and I'm also looking at this point, sells, strong sells, only sells in fact, but we're not going down. We're not going far down. This sell happened right as we hit that low volume node, and it was completely, had no effect at all. Which meant to me that it was time to go long again. And so with that in mind, I set my stop loss below this low volume node. Because obviously you want to be setting your stop losses so that if they are taken out, it means that your trade was completely invalidated. You didn't just set it too short and then, pardon me. You didn't just set it too short, it got taken out, and then price went your way, because you don't want that happening. So I sent it below this low volume node, because typically that would only get taken out if price was going below the low volume node, in which case it wasn't coming back up. So I do that, and lo and behold, we have this huge dick, just like straight erection. Bring us straight up. I think that was like 3.5 right off of that. Like 3.8 even. And then I just targeted like not above highs, but I targeted like right here. I kind of did that arbitrarily. I know for this Apex account, you can't really take wins that are more than 5 RR, so I'm trying to practice that for when I actually end up taking trades. And then I won't have to worry about that. So I just capped this thing at 5.2. And this thing was just immediately taken out. Unfortunately, then I had to go to school, so I wasn't really looking at any of this. But, it was pretty nice seeing that happen. And really, that's how I trade. I'm not looking to get in on every moment, always predict what the market's going to do. You have to wait for when the market shows you its best opportunities, because there are a bunch of good opportunities. Hell, you could go days, weeks without good opportunities, but the good ones are always worth taking, and the bad ones are never worth taking, is the best way to look at it. And when you can, you should always be going for long win rates with very highly favorable conditions. A lot of people think that, your risk to reward doesn't really affect your win ratio and your like overall how much you win. It doesn't affect how much you win, but it makes those wins way bigger. So if I'm doing a 5-to-1 RR, then I can lose 4 trades, win 1, and I'm still up, is the thing. So it makes more sense to me to focus on very highly profitable, selectable trades that I want to take instead of just trying to take every single one. So in a day like this was a complete trend day. I also knew that I wanted to follow the trend, is another thing that I was looking at. I did try shorting, I think, later on in the day after I got off of class, but that didn't even work. I think I was down here and like expecting like a breakout back down here, fill all this. Yeah, it was like right here. But that didn't happen. But still, even if I took the one over here, lost those, still got 5 here. So that'd still be a 3 RR a day. Not bad at all. I usually only put my pips about like 3 down. I typically do, maybe 4 or 5. Just because I think that means that you don't need to have price move that much in your favor to win. And if you can catch the end of this, because you're making your trades at important levels, like low volume nodes, like points of controls, then you can afford to have a really short stop loss. And it just makes your profits way bigger. But that is about how I do this. I'm feeling pretty good about the progress that I had today. It was a bit hard, considering school's been acting up a lot, and hell, I got like 39 hours of class this week, just because all my labs are this week. But you know what? Fuck it, we ball, right? And ultimately, I skip half of those anyways just to trade because fuck that shit. And we got to trade. Bit of an addiction, can't lie. But that's pretty much how I trade. I love talking about it to the camera because that makes me understand it even more. And if there are issues with how I'm executing things, they become really apparent when I start talking about them, and then I question them later, and I'm like, hold on, did what I said really make sense? Like, am I being honest here? And sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm lying to myself about how, like, this works. So that's why I want to put it on camera for other people. If someone wants to call me out about it, all power to anyone. But yeah, this is pretty much the gist of it. I'll probably make more videos going into deeper facets, like what I consider to be the 6 different types of trading days. I'll also go into using VIX, volatility index, on how that can change how I trade. Basically changes how I set my stop losses and my profit goals for the day. And there are a bunch of other factors that can really go into it. I got to put a lot more thought into how exactly I'm going to make this video series. But the important thing is, I got everything working now. I got my Bookmaps. I got my Ninja Trader. We got it all here. I do use the daily occasionally, but maybe I'll make another video on that. Don't use it that much. Typically, I'm more of a 5-minute, 1-minute trader. I'll be on the 5 minutes here. Style in. I always execute on the 1 minute because it just makes more sense to me. You can get tighter entrances and yeah, make good moves like this. But yeah, I mean, that'll be about it for the video today. Feeling good about where we're at right now. I mean, done a lot of work on this, and I'm gonna continue to do a lot of work. I probably gonna write a few more things today about what exactly is going on, how I'm gonna keep doing this, my goals, because I do want to start taking actual trades soon. As soon as I can get together evidence that this is completely profitable. Still don't have that yet. See, anyone can talk up here for a long time, but until there's evidence, that's all you got. It's hard finding an edge, it really is, but you always just got to be back on the markets and focused on the next big thing, focused on what's happening. Ooh, I should make a video on macro. There wasn't much macro today. Yeah, no news really. Government's shut down, so nothing really happens right now. But yeah, perfect. I think I talked about everything I want to talk about today. Hopefully that made sense to anyone that's watching this. Kind of made sense to me. Mostly made sense to me. I want to maybe backtest a little bit in between my next session and investigate areas of low volume as nodes and really hammer down some just the idea of identifying the mode as either being a trend or a range, and that depends a lot because as you see here, the day can be a trend, but you can have hours where it's just ranging. Like, look at this. This is absolutely a range. Hold on, where's my rectangle? This right here. Boom, 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 boom. Absolutely a range. Then we have a breakout, comes back in, touches the range. This is something else I need to make a video about. Really, there's just so much when it comes to trading. I need to make a whole holistic series, I guess, on how I trade, because when you learn things for a long time, you forget about the intricate nuances of teaching it all again. A lot of it is just embedded in your mind. Like, it's kind of just embedded in me to see support levels at like in a range or resistance levels in a range. And like, if you didn't know anything about trading, this video would probably not make much sense because I'm not going over the basics of what a candle is, because I already know that. This video is for educative purposes, but it's also to hold myself accountable for what I'm doing here, and I already know that shit, so I'm not going to be talking about that necessarily. I will be talking about the things that I think are very relevant to what I'm learning now in terms of order flow. I still got to learn how to use Bookmap more. I might just start taking trades on this. This seems pretty reliable. And then I also have a DOM here. I could also start using this. That's a little inferior to the heat map, I think, but maybe if I don't know, I'll give it a little handle. See if I can learn something. Then I'll get back to y'all. All right. But thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, and this video is probably gonna be up pretty late today because I had a big day and I got so much schoolwork to do. I got I got a test tomorrow. I haven't even started studying for. I have 2 assignments due tomorrow as well. Haven't started those either. Yeah, this moments like these really get the feeling that school's not for me, and that's why I'm doing this. Because this bullshit I have to deal with while I'm trying to do this, not it at all. So hopefully you learned something watching this. I learned a few things just talking, and I'll post this up on my YouTube. And thanks for watching.